Hi everyone, how are you doing? Happy Monday. Yep, today's Monday. How are you? Hope you guys have had a great weekend. Um, whatever it is you did or doing, I just hope you had a great time, whatever it is. Anyway, welcome to Facts and Two Cents. As you know, this is a channel that supports the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Carrie, Meghan, Archie, Baby Lily, Mama Doria, Pula Guy, the chickens, Mama Mia, all of us here at Sussex Squad. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Wow. So, first of all, that's a new me. I have a new avatar. I wasn't feeling the other picture, sorry. I'm like all over the place with this, but I'm trying out new ones to see which one I rather. But anyway, so this is me for today. So our faves have been a little bit quiet. Well, or kind of sort of maybe, people are sort of spotting them here and there. And same thing over the weekend. But before we get to our faves, I want to say hi to all our friends in the chat. How are you guys? Hello. Connie Mama and Fancy and Ray Raquel is here, and Robert. Oh, Robert is here hanging out in the barn. He's got my cranberry Martinelli spritz. Yes, thank you, Robert. Enjoy for me. Rosa is here, and Kathy is here, and our awesome moderator Karen M is here. Hi, Karen M. And our other awesome moderator Lydia is here. Hello, Lydia. Saying hello to everyone. And Joyce and Joan and Rochelle. Who else? Oh, Cinderella is here. And let's see who. Oh, Victoria Fabre is here, and Gloria and Black Queen, Dolores, Wendy Loman, Hope's Garden. Hello, Hope's Garden. How are you? Hazel Bryan is here. Annie, did I say you already, Annie? You probably did. Alma is here, and Nasa is here. Let's see. Oh, Keneva is here. Hi, Keneva. How are you? Hi, guys. And all our other friends who will join us at some point, hopefully. So my timing everything has been a little bit off the last couple of days. So I'm sure Baron's podcast is probably still going on. So I am so sorry. The last couple of days have been a little bit crazy with my schedule and my timing. So I will hope to get that fixed very soon. Anyways, no problem, Cinderella. I love shouting you guys out. She's like, thanks for the shout out. Yeah, I am happy you guys are here. And so anyway, on to our faves. Well, tomorrow, hope everybody is all excited. Tomorrow we are back to, let me get this straight. We are back to Archetypes Tuesday. So hope we are all excited about Archetypes Tuesday. I have no idea what what they're going to be discussing. And then I keep forgetting to do a poll. So maybe I'll do a poll of whatever topics we can think of. Oh, no, probably there are 3 more I could think of. I don't know. Maybe competitive, maybe, what is another one? I don't know. I know competitive women was one of the one I was thinking about. Maybe, gold digger could be another one. I don't know what's another one. Maybe you guys could come up with another one. We can do a poll and see which one wins. So that'll be cool. Oh, Lydia, yep. Lydia said gold digger. Yep, there you go. I don't know another one. Who, I can't think of another one off the top of my head. I had a whole bunch, but I think I've lost it somehow in what others could be. But those two definitely could be. Oh, social climber. Oh, yeah, that could be it too. There you go. That could be it too. So I'm gonna just take a screenshot of this so then I can have that. See, I figured. Sorry, Church Nelly, your awesome other moderator. She's like so cheating on Baron right now. Sorry, Baron. I'm gonna get my schedule all straight for the next couple of ones. Hopefully, will get it straight and I won't cut into your time in any way, so nobody has to cheat. So there you go. So yeah. But I am happy you're here, Church Nelly, even though you're cheating. So that's so Archetypes is tomorrow. Hope we're all excited. I know got a little bit sidetracked with The Crown, and I don't know if you guys have had this experience with The Crown. Over the weekend was my goal to watch, completely binge watch The Crown. Because I was like, okay, I'm gonna do a episode and couple of episodes and just finish it out, even though YouTube is really messing up with my review ones. Like they have, totally squashed it, and it's just like completely not monetizing it, and it's just crazy. With that one of them, the first one, it took like 3 days to get it, monetized. They just held it, and then the second one, it's still not. And so it's like, okay. So I was like, okay, I was gonna just do that this weekend, binge watch it, and then just do one episode just covering all of it. I tried to watch that thing 3 times this weekend. I started it, and then the next thing I knew, it was the next morning. I fell asleep all 3 times. I just could not. I barely remember anything of the first episode that I saw, and I was like, okay, maybe I don't know. I just like, it was kind of dull. And I just remember I started watching it and I was like, okay. And then it was the next morning, and 3 times it's happened to me. And so I don't know if you guys have had the same. Maybe you are better at maybe I'm just tired, and maybe sitting in a dark room trying to watch a show, it's probably not the best thing to do when you're tired. But yeah, it just like since Friday I've been trying to do this thing and it's just not worked. So anyways, I'm probably gonna have to go outside and sit outside in the cold, and so that way I will stay awake while I watch it. And yeah, it was just like, and I think also too, because we are so up in this and we know what's happening, and we know the Crown is not going to hit the hard parts. We know that a lot of it is they are going to make they're royalists, even though they're going to put controversial stuff that's been in the press, so they're not breaking new ground in any way, shape, or form. But it's just is very and so I think it's just like, for us, like, we know what the truth is in a lot of ways, so none of this is like news to any of us. And I think our discussions are a lot more, for me, a lot more interesting and a lot more factual and a lot more exciting than anything that I've seen in The Crown so far. So maybe that's why my brain is just tuned out to it. And plus, it's just like, yeah, it's like, okay, whatever. But I am going to watch it. I am going to try to do it, and maybe do, 1 or 2 episodes and just of quickly covering it. But again, what I've seen so far is just like, okay, whatever. Moving on. So anyway, our faves, our wonderful Archetypes is back tomorrow. First thing in the morning, that I will be there. Wendy's like, Netflix will lose subscribers going forward. Yeah, because I think they're pulling a switch and bait thing. I saw the I think just a promo for Duchess of Success, and I absolutely agree. It's so funny. I tweeted about that right before the episode, before it dropped, that I figured that's what they'd be doing. They are going to be, because when I heard that Prince Charles had the guy who is playing him in The Crown, he is an ambassador for, I think, a couple of the Prince Charles's charities, and he offered to resign. And Prince Charles was like, no, don't resign, whatever, you're an actor, whatever. So when I heard that, I was like, the palace already know the storyline, and that storyline is favorable. So I figured that I was like, yep, it is not going to be the documentary that we're going to think. But anyway, enough of that. We'll talk about that when I see the rest of it. Hopefully I wouldn't fall asleep again. Marjorie can relate. She says, yeah, The Crown and all its cracked up to be. I keep sleeping too. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one. I am glad I am not the only one, because I was like, oh my goodness. Gloria said, I decided not to watch it. Yeah. So Gloria is not watching it, but that's cool. But anyways, thank you so much. Guys, if you are new here, before we go on, if you're new here and you have not subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and subscribe. Click the notification bell so that you know when we drop a video. Please like and share. If you're down there, just like the video, the episode so far, and that would be most helpful. And you can share it, help us build our community, and join where you can support the channel monthly. We'll talk about that at the end. But anyways, moving on. More awesome things about Archetypes. Dawn Ostroff, who is the content and advertising manager for Spotify, did an interview with a Spanish language magazine, I guess, La Stampa. And so I had to do the English translation of that because I saw it dropped on Twitter not too long ago today. And it what she says, she talks about a lot of stuff about streaming and about podcasts and, I guess the importance and all of that stuff. I haven't yet read the entire article, but I will post the link in the show notes when I'm done. All the other links are there, but this one came up just so quickly, so late that I didn't get a chance to fully read the article as yet. So definitely go back in and read. But what I knew and what was posted online by Scotty's is this part where she talked about archetypes. And so it says, Spotify, the future of online advertising is in podcasting. Dawn Ostroff, content and advertising manager of the streaming platform, explains the new strategy beyond music. 20% of turnover will come from podcasts and audiobook spots. Whatever that means, we'll go in and read when I'm done. But they asked her about the Sussexes and about the Obama. Says they said, you cast Barack and Michelle Obama, Harry and Meghan. How are celebrity podcasts doing? And she went on to say the Obama deal has expired and they moved on to somewhere else. I think Apple or someplace else there, or audiobooks. I think they moved to there. She says the Obama deal has expired while Meghan Markle's podcast started about 3 months ago. But we put it on hold for a few weeks out of respect to the royal family when Queen Elizabeth passed away. Since it's launched, Meghan's podcast has been among the top 3 or 4 most followed in the world. It talks about a topic that I think interests many women, which is being labeled as certain archetypes. The ambitious, the diva, the one who doesn't get married, and so on. There are always important guests such as Serena Williams, Mindy Kaling, Mariah Carey, etc., etc. So that is really cool to see Dawn Ostroff, talking about Meghan and that she is the number 3 or 4 most followed in the world. And yeah, women are really onto this podcast, and men too. But obviously, the majority of the followers are women because, again, it's about women being stereotyped. So I thought that was really cool, and I was like, yeah, Meghan. Spotify is happy, because it wasn't a few months ago that a lot of people, especially those on Shutter Island, were like, Spotify, you need to take away your deal from Meghan because she's not doing you paid her all this money and there's nothing to look at. Look at what her podcast is doing. And I mean, I always say, it's like, look, Archetypes is a service to women. It is such a service. We can go back in there and learn, forever and just replay these these episodes, and they are so amazing. So it is just it is absolutely fantastic. And yes, Joyce, I will put the link to the Spotify article. I will put it in our show notes. Just look where it says show notes. It'll be there at the end. Yeah, I had already pulled everything in, and it was a little bit too late when I saw this to get the link in there. So as soon as I'm done with this, I will put the link in the show notes so that way you can read the article as well. So yeah. But I just think it was cool. And I was like, yep, Spotify is fine. They're good. Shutter Island is obviously going off a cliff because when Meghan speaks, it's just like, we don't want to hear from you. We don't want to. It's like they're so panicked, everything she says. And it's just like, yes, because she's right. And you know what you did. So you're panicked every time she opens her mouth. So yeah. But anyway, I just thought that was fantastic. So again, I'll put the link in the show notes. Let's see what else. Yesterday, we heard from a couple of people. Someone named Debbie and someone named Cheryl posted, I guess, in Facebook that they ran into Prince Harry the day before. So I think this was happened on Friday, according to them, because when they posted that, I think they posted it a couple of days, and I think it was yesterday we saw it, and it had already happened the day before. So it's like 2 days ago or however. So I think this happened on. Honestly, I think this all happened on Friday, which was the 11th, which was Veterans Day in the US. And so Harry was in Hawaii and at Pearl Harbor, visiting Pearl Harbor. I've never visited Pearl Harbor. Actually, I realized when I saw this, I'd never even seen pictures of it. It's for some reason, I never just looked up pictures of what it would look like. So I was happy when different squatties were like, whoa, yeah, and they were talking about it, and I realized I'd just never done that. So so Harry was here, and there was like an official. I'm going to move myself out of the way so you can see her. In the bottom left picture, there is an official it looks like a military official photographer there. So whether it was, it was something for the military he was doing, or something for Archer, or something for, it also could have been something for Invictus Games he could have been doing as well. So who knows? Who knows why? We don't know why he was there. I mean, obviously we know why he's there. He's a veteran, obviously. So we know, but I don't, I have no idea beyond that. And it's so funny, and it's a great way to think of how Americans think about royalty, because I think sometimes Brits don't understand that Americans don't think of royalty, or we don't see it the same way. And I'm going to move my brand name out there so we can read it properly. And so this is kind of an American look. What a great second day in Oahu. We went to Pearl Harbor, and while we were there on the Arizona Memorial, Prince Harry showed up. We had a great dinner with Royce at Waikiki, topped the night off with fireworks at the resort, and unbelievably ran into a colleague, Dr. Yirko. I love that. This is in a nutshell how Americans think of royalty. Oh yeah, he showed up. Moving on, we went to dinner, we did fireworks, and we ran into a Dr. Yirko. That's it. That's all of the Prince Harry you're gonna get. And that's kind of America. We're not, if to us, it's like they're just celebrities. And so we don't have that kind of reverence for royalty things that I think a lot of British people think we do. And so, and it's a very, very funny when I read that. I'm like, yep, that is exactly how Americans behave and think of things. Yeah, that's Prince Harry. And then, and then a Debbie also, I think Debbie is the one that said that Harry had come up to a couple of members of their family and spoke to a couple of members of their family. And so, but it's very funny. I read that and I laughed because I'm like, yeah, that's kind of about as reverent as America is with this. I mean, don't get me wrong. Americans love the pageantry and all of that stuff when it's a big holiday, big, like, say, for example, like the Queen's funeral, or say the Jubilee stuff for like a minute. And then after that, it's like, okay, moving on. But I absolutely love that. I absolutely love how she wrote that. I was like, that is exactly how Americans think. So, but anyways, Harry was there. I don't know how long he was there. Don't know when. I don't know if Meghan was there in Hawaii with him. No idea. And apparently, even if she was there, it's the Pearl Harbor is apparently not a place where you take kids. So obviously, and their kids are so tiny. So it's just, you wouldn't want, to take them there anyway. So, and Victoria's like, no leaks at all. Absolutely no leaks. And which is great. I mean, other than if these people weren't there and took those photos of him, then, nobody would know. So I just, I think it was great. And it was great too that they said Harry, met, went up to different family members to speak to them, which is so Prince Harry. So I just love that. I absolutely love that. So kudos. maybe we'll know, maybe we won't, details of his visit to Pearl Harbor, but I'm happy he was able to do that with them. So yeah, so moving on, Archwell. We know that Prince Harry wrote that amazing letter to the kids from Scotty Little Soldier. And apparently, this letter is resonating so much. It's all over the same British press who claim that Harry and Meghan are irrelevant. It is just all over their press. And it's very funny. I'm like, you guys have royals you should be focusing on. Weren't all of them there at the cenotaph and doing whatever it is they were doing? They were laying the wreaths and all of those things. But everyone seemed to have forgotten that, and everybody is now on Harry's letter to the Scotty's Little Soldiers. And Archwell actually wrote, in their news update today, they wrote about Scotty's Little Soldiers, and I just, their little yellow and black scarves. And again, it has, I'm sure it's not lost on us. That's also Invictus colors, the yellow and black. And it's just like, oh God, they're so tiny. But this is what Archwell said on their side today about it. It says, to offer support in Remembrance Day, Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, wrote a special letter to Scotty's Little Soldiers, a charity supporting children who experienced the death of a parent who served in the British Armed Forces. The Duke has a long-standing relationship with the charity, which provides a range of services for its members, including access to child bereavement support, guidance to parents and carers, personal education, and learning assistance. So it is a great thing for kids and families, who have lost a parent, to have this kind of support. For the families, especially also for the kids. Gosh. And so these are them. Yesterday they were there. So Scotty's Soldiers tweeted about it. Says, huge thanks to the Poppy Cabs for getting our Scotty members safely to the cenotaph today for a National Parade of Remembrance. So there they are in their little cab. And then on their Instagram, on your right, it says, members and their parents will march with Scotty Little Soldiers in the National Remembrance Parade. Each child or young person you will see wearing the yellow-black scarf is a bereaved military child who has experienced the death of a parent who served in the armed forces. Every day is Remembrance Day for a bereaved military child. And so it is just so, I'm telling you, it just, no one, adult or child, should lose a parent, but it's always cut so deep when it's a child. They're going to grow up for the rest of their life without sometimes both their parents or at least one parent. And that is something you don't want any child to have to experience. And there we are. These kids are. I do hope, I do hope, and again, I was looking and I didn't see it, and that doesn't mean they're not there, but I do hope, what I'm seeing is mostly white children. I do hope that, the Black families as well are able, because this seemed like a really great organization. And I'm sure, maybe it's just not in the pictures that I've seen, but it's a great thing. And I know, Black families as well in the UK can benefit so much, or Black kids can, and Black families and kids, really, the whole family can benefit so much from this organization. So I don't know how much it's in the Black community there, if it's something that is, popular there, or at least, broadcast or advertised there. So I just hope that they know that this is also available, that they can be, have the help that they need. Again, for me, I would notice this because stuff like this, I always look to see, if Black families and Black children are able to have the same support as these kids. And I would want that for them, because again, this seems like a really, really great organization that could help them. So yeah. That was cool. And this story really, really, I was just like, oh my goodness. It's this little girl says, even though Remembrance is a sad day, I can still smile. And that's just like a child, right? That is so like a child. She says, before Luca was born, her dad, Sergeant Jamie Pillister, died by suicide. Growing up without him by her side has been incredibly difficult for Lukubo. And without any memories of her dad, she has relied on stories to feel connected to him. Lukubo joined Scotty's Little Soldiers at the beginning of 2014. She was 4 months old. This year, she laid the Scotty Remembrance Wreath at the Cenotaph in London on behalf of all bereaved military children who marched. And this is so much of story. You know, one of the things I remember very well, and I'm sure you guys remember, Prince Harry's speech at the closing of the Invictus game at The Hague, when he talked about when they did the survey, you know, about what Invictus mean to the servicemen and women. One of the big things that came out is that Invictus has saved their lives, and that is literally. Invictus has saved their life, because a lot of them would be dead without Invictus. And that's one of the things, you know, I talked on here about doing the play A Piece of My Heart about women who served in Vietnam during the war. And that was one of the things when we would do it. One of the big things I learned while doing that play and doing research is the high suicide rate among veterans. And so I knew that from doing that play. And when Harry said that at The Hague, I'm like, yeah, you know, it is so true, the high suicide rate among veterans. And a lot of these kids are growing up with moms or dads who have committed suicide because, you know, of what their situation, what they experienced during the war. So kids like her are growing up never knowing dad or never knowing mom. So please keep them in your prayers. And this is why, for me, I hope so much that the Black community would be able to benefit from a program like this, because you know a lot of Black kids are running around without mom and dad because of this. So I just want all kids to be able to benefit from these kind of programs. And a little bit about Scotty. Nikki Scott, who is the one who, you know, started it. Well, a little bit about her story in a second. I'm going to read this a little bit about Scotty's Little Soldier. It says, Scotty Little Soldier is a charity dedicated to supporting the bereaved British Forces children and young people. Inspired by the experience of Army widow Nikki Scott, the charity honors husband Corporal Lee Scott's memory, both as a loyal soldier and as a loving father, and provides practical yet personal way for the public at large to show their appreciation for brave individuals who make ultimate sacrifice in service to their country. And a little bit of Nikki's story says, my reason for starting Scotty's Little Soldier is very personal. On the 2nd of June 2009, my husband Lee left our home to do a tour in Afghanistan. Lee was a corporal in the 2nd Royal Tank Regiment and loved his job. He loved being a part of the team and really believed he was making a difference by being in the Army. On the 10th of July, 2009, my world totally turned upside down when I had a knock at the door that every Army wife dreads, and I was told that Lee had been killed. My world fell apart. I was lost, and even though I had amazing friends and family around me, I felt completely alone. I didn't know how I was going to carry on without Lee in my life. And it's amazing. Out of all of that, she started Scotty's Little Soldiers, and look at the great thing, you know, it says help their children smile. And out of all of that, look at how many kids that it's helping. And one of the things, actually, she did an interview and with one of those stations that is like, oh, don't do an interview with them. Let me see if I can find oh, yeah, it is. She did it with GB News. And it's like, no, not GB News, that horrible channel that completely, they just hate Harry and Meghan every 24/7. But yeah, she was. That's her on the left. Again, it's a charity, and they just want people to know and just get the word out as much. They're not into what I guess what GB News does, but she talked about how meaningful this was, that Harry wrote a letter to the kids, because she said that each of them took that personally. They just felt so touched that they feel like somebody cares, and they were so happy that he cared about them, that he knew about them and cared about them. And it was just such a wonderful, I actually saw the video of it. One of our squad, well, she's not a squaddie, she loves Harry and Meghan, even though she's not a squaddie. So she posts about them all the time. So she had it on her Twitter. And so it was just really touching. When I saw GB News, I was like, no. And then I watched it. I was like, oh, okay. For one time, it was something good. And so the whole thing was about the letter, and it has made such an incredible impact. And again, you can see on the side, even by some of them who hate Harry and Meghan, all over the news is about this letter, and it has made such a huge impact. I mean, you can't read that letter and not be impacted by it, and know that, kids, how important it is for them to have seen that letter. So it just, it seemed the letter has overshadowed the ones in Shutter Island, but it is just such an incredible thing. So kudos. I'm so happy Prince Harry wrote that. And again, it just shows, right, how Harry connects to people's heart. And that just shows somebody who has dealt with his own trauma, who has worked through his stuff, and now is able to reach other people's hearts and connect. And that's why people just feel like, so connected to him. And that's why Shutter Island is so desperate, like, come back, because none of them are able to do what he has been able to do and connect the way he's been able to connect. So kudos to Prince Harry. It is just really, I'm telling you, every time I read that letter, it's just amazing. And this is Prince Harry. I think it was 2007, and the other one was a couple of years ago. But here he is with some of them. The top one is, I think he had done a day with them at the palace. I think it was probably Kensington Palace. And the one below, the one with the Santa Claus, and that's the kids watching him in the Santa Claus. I think that was a couple of years ago when he dressed up as Santa Claus to wish them happy, Merry Christmas and stuff. And they were all really enjoying it. And then he pulled off the beard and revealed, like, it's him. And one of the little boys was like, that's Prince Harry. And then they're all like, Prince Harry, that's Prince Harry. It was just so cute. The video is just so cute of that. I think I'll put links to all of these videos so that you can see it as well. It's just really heartwarming. I don't know, I'm all about Scotty's little soldiers the last couple of days. So it was just really cool. And I'm so happy that they have him and know that he loves them. And know that, somebody care. And again, Harry's not even in there. They don't even want him to be part of the British, the British version of Veterans Day. They don't want him. But yet look at how I'm telling you, he is the king of people's hearts. And they cannot deny that. They simply cannot deny that. So kudos, Prince Harry. And we just saw that. Another thing just dropped today is Mission Continues. We've talked about Archwell joining Kaboom to build the park in Uvalde, Texas, and also Squatties teaming up a couple weeks ago to purchase benches for Uvalde Park. And then today we learned that the mission continues. Yep, the same mission continues that the Sussexes are supported. And, we talked about yesterday in our last episode. Yesterday, yep, it was yesterday. They have now joined with Archwell and Kaboom, and they are also helping to build that park. So Mission Continues posted this today. It says, we are honored to partner with the city of Uvalde, Texas, and the Archwell Foundation at Kaboom, along with members of the community community to create a play space for children to enjoy. The goal of the De Leon Park Playground project is to provide a sense of hope and healing for the Uvalde community. And it is just so Harry and Meghan is what we've been talking about, why they are the best royals, why, the impact that they are making in so many different communities is it's the community that they created. They have, joined up with, they were already with Mission Continues, and they, I'm sure pulled Mission Continues in. And so now Mission Continues is working with the city of Texas and Kaboom and with them to help build this rock. And I love, they just build community with all the organizations that they're working with. It's the same thing they did in the UK. And it's the same thing they're doing here. And it's so fantastic to see them. We're all working together to create. I mean, they create magic. I love it. I absolutely love it. So I look forward to see all the other things that Harry and Meghan are going to be doing with Mission Continues. And again, Squatties, we also did a fundraiser that also helped the Mission Continues. So I actually had forgotten about that. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. I saw one of our Squatties posted it. And I was like, wait, yes, we did. So I am just so happy to see how the squad jumps in and helps and supports any organization that Harry and Meghan are a part of. I mean, no other, supporters, or we could call them fans. We're not fans, we are supporters. Do that with people like this. I mean, it is just amazing and wonderful to see. So kudos everybody who has supported. And again, those benches, that fundraiser went so fast, I didn't even get a chance to do anything. It was over before I even got a chance. So fantastic. Anyways, moving on. Finishing all the wonderful things in the US, and we're going to jump over the Shutter Island for just a second. Today, apparently, is King Charles's birthday. So you would think King Charles is, relax, give gifts and, be charitable and all of that stuff. All the things that, we're used to Harry and Meghan doing when it's their birthday or when it's, whatever. We're used to their charitable self, But when it comes to Prince Charles, Prince Charles gives himself stuff. He takes stuff and he gifts himself things, including gifting himself the Ranger of Windsor Great Park. I was like, how many titles does Prince Charles have? Do you really need to have a title of the Ranger of Windsor Great Park? There are so many other people in your family that I'm sure could use a title, like your brother Prince Edward, whom you have not given that, Duke of Edinburgh title to. That's supposed to be Prince Edward's title that he's still not done. There are other people that you could have given this title to who ended, like your brother, Prince Andrew, who is sitting there doing nothing at the moment. I'm sure hanging out in Windsor Great Park. I mean, he lives in Windsor Great Park. Prince Charles doesn't even want to live in Windsor because, the airport is right there and it's very noisy, apparently. I mean, it is like, you could have given him that title. Let him stay in Windsor and do something. He's already getting taxpayer funds. He might as well put him to work. Let him be the Ranger of Windsor Great Park and make himself useful. Something. And so, it's funny because I hear Prince Andrew is going to be fighting for the right to do whatever. I don't blame him. If I was Prince Andrew, I'd do the same thing. Because as I always say, if you are happy and if you're okay with Prince Charles as king, or King Charles, I should say, I keep calling him Prince. I still am not used to him as King Charles. If you're okay with King Charles as king, you should have no problem with Andrew because they're one and the same. They are one and the same. So I don't blame Andrew. Andrew could be like, look, you have done the exact same things that I've done. And probably more. So you have nothing on him. So I don't blame Andrew for fighting for his position. Because again, if you're okay with Charles, you should be okay with Andrew. They are the same. And so, yeah. So Charles has gifted himself the Ranger. And Scobie is like, on his birthday, King Charles has been announced. Like, announced? What are you talking about? He is the one who gifted himself. He's the one who appointed himself. He's not been just announced. That the Ranger, King Charles has been announced as the Ranger of Windsor Great Park 70 years after the Prince Philip was appointed to the post. The role will see him offer oversight and guidance to the deputy ranger in stewardship of one of the country's oldest landed estates. And you can see a little bit of the part there. It is a massive, and obviously, as you can see those little pictures at the bottom there, Frogmore is obviously at Windsor Great Park, and also where Kate and William lives at oh shoot, what is that? What is their house name? Now I'm forgetting what it's called. But they also live at Windsor, and also Prince Andrew lives there at the lodge there. They're all there on Windsor Great Park. And so Prince Charles, so I'm thinking that the reason Prince Charles is now the ranger, and I don't know if he has, since he's the ranger, does he then have, and I don't know the answer to this, does he then have, power over who lives there? Is this, and I don't know, I started getting suspicious. Is that, so that way he knows when the Sussex says, oh, thank you, Gerrans, Adelaide Cottage, thank you. That is where Kate and William that's their home. There are two homes on Adelaide Cottage that they were lying like, oh, it's only one. But thank you so much, Jarens. But yeah, it just, does he now have a say of who lives there? Does that mean that's what a ranger has power? And is it so that he can, sort of keep an eye on the Sussexes? Does he get a say as to who rents property there? Because obviously we know Harry and Meghan are leasing Frogmore there. Does he get a say? Is that why he's there? I mean, he doesn't even want to live there. So why again, another title so to give him power? Prince Charles just wants to own everything and be lord over every single thing. And it's just greediness, utter greediness. This should have been a day where you open your pockets and help England and help your country, help people who are starving and can't pay their bills. Instead, what does he do? He gifts himself another title. Gross, utterly gross. It's just like, dude. And look at him under the tree like, I am lord over the land. And again, this is a man who has so much property. They are the biggest landowners in the UK. Plus, they have properties in the Caribbean. They have they have properties all over the world. And it's just the greediness and grabbiness, while so much of his subjects are starving. And so, I just can't. And moving on from Prince Charles's nonsense, I don't know, this just sort of interested me. Fergie and the first photographer who took a beautiful shot. I don't normally do stuff on Fergie, but I just thought this was interesting. This is Meghan's and Harry's friend, Misan Harriman. And it's just funny because, whenever Harry and Meghan do stuff, they always like to copy. So I don't know if Misan had ever taken any royals photograph before Harry and Meghan, but it's just very interesting to see. He is the one who took Sarah's photo. So beautiful photo, absolutely beautiful. I love her little throwback outfit. I love the colors and everything. So very beautiful. Misan does absolutely beautiful work. So very interesting. I just thought that was interesting. Throw that in there. And this now. This made me sad because, I am not here for the royals. As you know, I want them all abolished. But I think it's because I grew up with my grandmother. I was raised with my grandmother. So when the elderly people are not properly taken care of, even when I disagree with everything they do, as in, say, the late Queen Betty, how I felt about her. But it always ripped at my heart if I thought she wasn't being taken care of, or, I remember that time we talked about it when, her clothes her buttons was all over, and then she has all the black marks on her skin. And it was just, I don't know. I think it's because I grew up my whole childhood with an elderly person. So I have a soft spot for them. So this is the Duke of Kent, and this was him yesterday at the Cenotaph, and there's a button missing in his uniform. And, so this man is, and he could have just closed his eyes for probably meditating, but he literally looks like this man should be home in bed, just relaxing. And maybe he wants to be there, and maybe he, but I don't know. And it just got me thinking, I don't know how well they take care of the elderly. in the royal family. And I remember even the Telegraph wrote that article, and we talked about this on this podcast before, about how they were concerned about how the queen was that she wasn't being taken care of properly. And Omid Scobie even wrote an article about, that the crown, they don't care. As long as they protect the crown, they don't really care about the people. And so when I saw this, and I was like, this is a huge event where there are no photographers are there. And to see an elderly person come and his button in his clothes is missing. And according to Gerst Royal, who I don't follow because she's a little bit, sketchy at times, she said the Duke of Kent seemed to have some issues with his uniform this year. At Troop in the Colors, he wore his Order of St. John's and St. George's sash on the wrong shoulder, possibly after confusing it with the Order of Garter sash, which he normally wears trooping. And so, it could seem like, that's, here and neither here nor there. It's probably silly. But it just made me wonder if they have people that take care of elderly royals who would take care of their needs. Like, there's a button missing on his clothes. I mean, when it comes to military uniform, and how precise the military are, how military people are about their uniforms. It's one of those things. They are very, very, very particular about it being tip-top shape, everything in place. If you know military and you know exactly how particular they are about especially their uniform, that every medal is in place and it's perfect. And I know I did the show about the military, and so we had to get our stuff together because we knew military personnel were going to come there and they were going to see us, so we needed to get our stuff. So I understand that. So when I saw a picture of this, I was like, oh goodness, this is not good. And while it may seem like trivial or whatever, but it's just like I'm concerned for the elderly in the room. I'm like, if they treated Harry the way he did, how do they take care of the elderly people like this? This man should be in bed. And again, maybe he's like the queen who wanted to do stuff until her last breath. That could be it too. But I don't know. I just feel concerned. I feel concerned because a lot of times, especially with Prince Charles being so greedy, a lot of the money and all of that stuff go to the ear, and the rest of the people literally have to beg for their keep, And so how much is his work for him, or is he there just because he wants to be there? Or is this how he makes a living to feed himself and the family? I don't know the answer to it, but it just makes me concerned. And I just, maybe because I was raised by my grandmother, that I stuff like this concerns me. So, and it could be, maybe it's just rich people problems. I don't know, but I don't know. So anyways, moving on. So this story with Prince Charles and the egg. Now, I had completely not focused at all on this subject because, one, I didn't want to give more air to it more publicity to it than it needed, because again, these situations are dangerous when you are in that vulnerable position where there's a lot of crowd there and you're meeting them. You are very vulnerable and anything could happen and people could literally get really badly hurt. So I didn't want to give any, for me, I just didn't want to do any. I just completely just let it be. And so, but this story came up about it, and this is from the photographer. I think it was a New York Times not New York Times, the London Times photographer, who was taking, and he was talking about, the press team, the royal rota that the palace basically gives access to being close to them to take photos of these events. And this is kind of what happened with the photographer who they gave, free access to. He's part of the rota. Like there's like a press pool where they're sort of behind bar, and you see like a whole row of press. There are those, but then there are the royal rota photographers who just have basically free reign. They can pretty much go anywhere and they can get close to the royals, whatever. And this is kind of what happened with him. He said, he was there and they were photographing them, and they had all of this, he talked about the contract between the press and the palace of how they were going to photograph, the event, and they were going to come, and what Prince Charles was going to do, and basically. And this is what the photographer said about what it is, that sort of the contract or the agreement they have with the palace. Says, in the eye of some of the royal press team, Rhoda photographers are essentially to shoot PR for the royal family. Our job is to document the sovereign, i.e. Prince Charles, doing his noble duty and meeting the adoring public. Implicit in the arrangement that has put us within 6 feet of the most famous person on earth is that the images we file will show him in a positive light. Again, this is a journalist, a photojournalist talking, who's supposed to be impartial. Their arrangement their arrangement with the palace is to be PR. That's it. That's the same thing they do with photographers, and the same thing they do with the print media. Is they're there as PR, that they file the report and to show them in a positive light. So the guy said, he was photographing, and then he saw the egg flew, and then he was trying, he was photographing, and Prince Charles saw it and whatever, and he tried to move on. He decided he wanted to go and photograph the guy being arrested and get to the bottom of all of that stuff. And what happened, and I already put the link to this in the show notes so you can read the article. He was he trying to go to get photos of the guy being arrested, because you can see photos of him online being arrested and all that stuff. So he was going to try to get photos of that and get to the bottom of that story. A palace person guided him by his arm, he said, basically gently pulled him away from that and made him focus on Prince Charles instead. And it says, he goes on to say that that is the contract that they have with the royals. Even if something like the egg throwing and that guy happened, your job is not to focus on the real story that's happening. Your focus needs to always be just on that, focusing on the prince as he carry on, and not focus on their story. It's all about focusing on him and making sure that whatever happened there, he comes out looking in a positive light. And so the photographer going on to say, he went on to say, it's hard to draw any serious conclusion from this non-event. He just basically is like, oh, the guy just threw eggs and that was it. Nobody got hit. If the king got hit, then that was another issue. But so it's a non-event. But he says, but I think it does underline the fragile relationship between the press and the palace. Getting the picture and the copy for which the readers are hungry depends on being given access. And that access is granted with tacit conditions. Spelling such a thing out itself is a breach of those conditions. I guess I'll find out. So what he basically is saying is like, okay, we have specific conditions with the royal family of how they are shot. Whatever happens, the world could be falling around them. You need to come up with photos where they're smiling, look beautiful, manicured, face, polished to the hilt, and photoshopped to the hilt. That is the contract. No matter what else is happening, that is your contract. You don't focus on anything else but make us look beautiful. And then it's like, you better not say anything to anyone else. And so the photographer went and talked about it. And that's why he says, well, it probably is a breach of contract that I'm talking about this. So I guess I'll find out. He's going to find out if he's going to get fired or not, if he'll ever be on a Rhoda, be part of a Rhoda again. But I'm glad he talked about it, the contract, that's Joyce is like, invisible contract. Harry said, I guess not so invisible. But it's very interesting to see, and I'm glad we know that as Scotty. We've seen it a million times. But again, I am just happy to see that if, one of them are saying specifically, no matter what it is, They hire you to come and do that, to make sure that we file images of him in a positive light. That is why the British press is what it is. That is why they are what they are. This is not journalism in any sense of the word. The British press in so many ways is just PR for the royal family. And it's just so sickening. And it's just like so many of them do it. And no, it's kind of like you're in this bubble and nobody could say, this is ridiculous. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? And so I am glad, hopefully more and more people talk about this so that, hopefully other reporters will see it and be like, yeah, we shouldn't be doing this. This is ridiculous. Why are we being PR for these people? And so it just, and again, I mean, this, if you're part of the Sussex squad and this is shocking to you, then we need to have a conversation. But it's, for me, I brought it up and I pulled it in here because I feel like it's important for us to see it in plain where their own people are telling us, yeah, it is an invisible contract. This is what the contract is. And so many times people like to, Harry and Meghan weren't telling the truth. There is no invisible contract, especially with the Oprah interview, they're like, oh no, they're lying, whatever. And now more and more and more, I am happy to see that people are like, yeah, no, the only reason we got the job we got is because we have a specific contract with the royal family. And so I am hoping and praying more of them will see the light and not take this contract. So anyways, moving on, Invictus Games finally, and I'm going to get into the chat in a second. As soon as I wanted to get through this, Invictus Games says we have spaces available for WIS or wounded and injured and sick servicemen and women to take part in the Central Florida Spartan Race. This Invictus opportunity is open to all WIS currently based in the US and Canada, and you can sign up via Invictus. The link is already in the show notes. Again, if you know anybody who is a veteran, that link that's there, they can get connected with Invictus Games and then be part of the Spartan Games, which, as you can see in the picture, it's like an obstacle course or one of those Ironman things that I was trying to figure out all like the different disciplines that's going to take place, and I haven't been able to yet. I went on the site and I was like, I want to know what it is you're doing, but it's amazing. And the wonderful thing again is like the Invictus Games is not just about the games. There's so many things that they do that help men and women who have served, who are veterans, to be able to overcome whatever challenges that they are overcoming, no matter what their disability is, whether it's invisible or visible. There are so many different things. And so again, if you know of a vet who's not part of this, please help them to, connect with. Again, the link is already in the show notes, so you can take advantage of that. So yeah. So anyway, that's that. I think that's all I got for that. Yep. So I'm gonna jump in the chat and see what you guys are saying in there. I know I was trying to get through all of what I had and then focus on the chat. So I'm gonna start from the bottom and then go to the top. Wendy Lohman says, I don't understand why Brits put up with the press and the royals' behavior. Their silence allowed the bad behavior to continue. Make it make sense. Exactly, Wendy. I don't understand either. I don't understand why they accept it. I really, really don't understand at all. So yeah. Lydia, our awesome moderator, says, I like this new picture very much. Thank you, Lydia. You're so encouraging. It's so funny. The other picture, I just wasn't feeling it. Every time I see it, I was like, hey. I almost went back to the old picture today. So thank you. Cinderella says, sugar-coated journalism. I can't even call it journalism. It is sycophancy. It is just, again, it is just PR for the press. PR for the royal family. It's not journalism in any sense of the word. it's sickening. And it's like, literally, they hire you specifically just to make them look good. Like, I don't even understand why you would take that job. And, if you want to do that, then okay, be a PR person, but then don't call yourself a journalist. Don't try to front like you are, impartial and you're working as a journalist, because that is not journalism. So if you just want to be a PR person, then fine, just be a PR person. That's a wonderful job. There are many great PR people, and I'm sure the royal family need PR people. Then be PR people. Just don't claim you're a journalist. Let's see. Let's see. Ooh, thank you, Lydia, for all our friends in the chat. Please like our video. Please like our live, and share. Thank you so much. Church Nelly says, not so invisible contract. Yeah, no, it hasn't been invisible since Harry talked about it, because more and more since Harry talked about it, more and more people are talking openly about, at least their version, or at least their take on their invisible contract. Yeah, it's very, very there. Joy says, was Sophie standing with watching? She was not with Kate and Camilla. I don't know. I have no idea. I saw one of our, well, again, the same person who loved Harry and Meghan, but she's not really a Scotty. She posted something that I think the royal family posted like two posts. I guess either on Instagram or on Twitter. I don't know which one. I didn't see it myself. And that they had to take it down because, one, they posted that the Queen's cousin was there and she wasn't. And then they posted that Sophie was there, but then they spelled her name or her title wrong, and they had to take it down. So they were saying how embarrassing it was. I was like, okay, well, it was a mistake. Why is it embarrassing? People make mistakes. But, with the royals, they have to be perfect with everything. And they just have convinced themselves they cannot make mistakes. So now it's in the press that they made a mistake. And now it's a huge deal for some reason that they made a mistake. It's just like, okay, whatever. So apparently she was there. And but yes, Kate was standing with Camilla. And so who knows? They probably just ignored her, like, they always do, I guess. Kenita says, Kate and Camilla was at one window and Princess Anne, Tim Lawrence, and another man didn't pay much attention. Oh, okay. So I guess maybe Sophie was someplace else. Because when Meghan was there, Meghan would be there with Sophie. And I think there was one year they were there, Meghan, Sophie, and then Tim Lawrence was in the back of them. I think it was Tim Lawrence. So don't know what happened to Sophie. Kicked to the curb again, maybe. Church Nelly says the egg incident was staged. Whatever it was, eggs definitely didn't hit its target, which was the king. So who knows? Would I put it past them? No. Just like I think they did with the crown. Yeah, wouldn't put that past them. They are experts at this stuff by now. So Wendy says, the Duke of Kent is an officer and is not being taken care of. Officer's uniform always on point. The Duke needs to retire. Optics is bad. The optics are really bad, but more important than the optics is he being taken care of? And that, again, for an elderly person, that is my concern. And yeah, as you said, officers' uniforms always, that's the thing with them. Their uniform, their shoes polished. You can see your face in their shoes are so shiny. You can see your face in their shoes. That's a thing with the military. And when I see that, it's like, there's something off there. And that's what got me concerned. Let's see. Hope's Garden says, the Duke of Kent is being treated like Queen Betty. Shameful. They didn't care for him. Just running the elderly ragged. And that's how it looks. And again, we're not on the inside, so we don't know what's happening. And could it be just be an off day? Probably. But as Gertz Royal said, his sash was wrong the last time, and now he's missing a button. And it's just like something is, again, when you're dealing with military, it's that the precision. No matter how old you are, there is a precision that I don't think you ever it ever leaves you, and that makes me very, very concerned. Let's see. Official Lauren Brown says, it honestly seems like they do not care about the older members besides rolling them out as necessary. I honestly think the gray suits do not value the royals the way we believe, the way they believe we think they do. This is very true. It is exactly what Scobie wrote about, and is exactly what was in the Telegraph when they were concerned about who is taking care of the Queen. It's exactly this thing. It is exactly that they do not care about, even though it was the Queen. They don't care. They will just, as long as she serves their purpose, they don't care about their well-being. And so that was, again, why I'm concerned. Joy says the Rolder Royals, they need to retire these people. They need to retire those people. They have done their duty. Charles don't have enough people to be in the slim down monarchy. Well, he got his wish. He got his wish of the slim down monarchy. It's his fault if they're not, enough people there. If you treat people well, they'd want to stay. But if you don't, well, they left. But yeah, they need to retire them and take care of them. As far as I know, the Duke of Kent has been working, forever for the Queen. And again, who knows? Maybe he wants to do it. That could be in this case as well. But I don't know. It just doesn't look good. So yeah, it's just very, very unfortunate to see that. Let's see. Going back to official Lauren Brown says, yes, this constant copying behavior is interesting to witness. I'm hoping because the relationship M&H have with Jeannie and Fergie, that Fergie's pick was a referral, but I don't have much hope. That could be it as well. I mean, Meghan actually doesn't have anything against Fergie. She actually liked Fergie. She talked about Fergie teaching her how to salute. How to do her curtsy and all of that stuff. So I don't think she has, and again, she's known them before she knew Harry. So maybe it was a referral. And again, it's a beautiful picture. I just thought it was interesting how they copy, how they, whenever Mary and Meghan do stuff, they tend to copy and use those people, i.e., I don't know if he still works there. David, who was the Sussex's social media guy, obviously, the Cambridges snapped him up when the Sussexes left. I don't know if he's still working with them, but, who knows? Let's see. Joy says Harry and Meghan are the template for what the family is copying. Yeah, they always criticize Harry and Meghan when they do things, and then they copy it, and then the press is like, oh, this is wonderful. All of a sudden, the thing they were criticizing is, wonderful when the Cambridges or, the other royals are doing it. Amazing. Kathy Gabby. Hi, Kathy Gabby. Kathy says, Harry is who Charles sees as his competition, no one else, which is why he's grasping after Archie as well. His long arm reaching out to dim Archie's birthday light. I mean, I would never understand why, of all days, you had a whole 365 days. You picked the one day that is this baby's birthday. Like, why? Why? You could have picked the day before. You could have picked the day after. You could have picked, any day other than art. Like, why? And it's just, Charles is just, the pettiness is unreal. Lydia, also moderator, says, greed and excess is normal to them. Very much so. Prince Charles is greedy to the hilt. This man is greedy beyond belief. I wonder what is good. I mean, has it dawned on him that when he dies, he can't take it with him? Like, I don't understand. You have 1,000,000 titles. Why do you need another title? Why do you need to be a ranger? Again, You have family members who need something to do, like your brother, Prince Andrew. He's sitting there collecting taxpayers' money, especially for his security and stuff. Put him to work. If you, oh, fine, you don't want him in public. You don't want him to be seen by the public. Fine, give him the ranger job. He's not going to be seen in public. He lives in at Windsor Great Park. Let him be the ranger. Let him work, at least do something of value, something where, people could feel like, well, if I'm going to be paying his security and whatever else I'm paying for this guy, hell, this guy, who knows, that 12 million or how many million they paid to Virginia, most of that I'm sure, well, of course they say, no, it didn't come from the taxpayers, but I believe a lot of that comes from the taxpayer money. That's what I believe. I don't have the evidence, but that's what I believe. So if the taxpayers are doing that, you might as well put him to work. Let him earn his keep somehow. Give him that title. He's not going to be in front of the public if he's a ranger for the park. Give him the title. Let him do something. But to have him sit there collecting taxpayer funds and doing nothing while you collecting titles is ridiculous. And it's just greedy. And then you don't do that to a person. Fine. If what what he is charged with is a serious thing. Should he be in jail or something? Yes, but he's not. That is the reality of where, and he's not going to be. So if it's there, you might as well put him to work. And he wants to do something. He obviously wants to do something. So let him. So it's just, I don't understand. And again, my thing with that whole relationship is like, look, I will say this a million times, if you're fine with Charles, then you should be fine with Andrew because they're one and the same. So that's how I feel about that. Because if Charles can be king, so can Andrew. Moving on, and I know that's not a popular opinion, but that's how I feel about that. Hope's Garden says, Charles, why not be Lord over feeding your people? Duh. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Get a title. A title that needed. I need to take the title of, okay, I'm going to feed my people. I'm going to be the benevolent king and feed my people. Take that title. But that's not going to happen because Charles is about collecting things, not giving things. And then there's always this thing like, oh, Charles is, with his charities and stuff like that. None of Charles's money is going into any of that. That's why he has all these rich donors. Their monies are supporting his charities, not Charles. Charles is not putting his own money into charity. Charles is collecting money and building his wealth. He's getting other people like Arabs who want to get in with the royal family, like we talked about several times on this podcast. That's whose money is going into that, so that's how it is. The royal family is so cheap. Oh my goodness. I wish that as well. I wish Harry and Meghan could find another home in London. I don't know where they could stay with security they need. I know. I wish that as well. It's just like with Charles as the ranger, does he, I'm sure now he's going to know everything that's going on in Windsor. And, again, I don't know if he gets a say in who lives there and what the security stuff is like there, but he'll be all up in their business. And I just, oof. And I agree. That for me is like, Harry. Harry is definitely is this competition. I definitely agree with that. Let's see. Church Nelly says, Harry is so his mother's son. He sure is. He sure is. Let's see. Scrolling up. John says, strange how Virginia now has had a memory lapse about the other man she has accused. He has threatened to countersue her, so she's withdrawn her complaint. Very odd. That is very odd. That is very, very odd. And one of the things I also find very odd, there were other men, including Trump and all of those people that were a part of this. And the only person that is pretty much been nailed for it is Prince Andrew. That is very, very odd. When I heard that she withdrew and then said she thought he was, for like she was forced to, that she was forced on, he was forced on her or something, and that she thought, but that's not the case. Like, how do you, like, I don't understand. Like, I yeah, it is just very, 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 very odd. And then it just went away in the press. Nobody's talking about it. And so, they're all, I always wonder, like, why is it like there are Americans that were part of all of this, and why aren't they, why are they going after them as well? Like, it's just this whole thing is just really, really, really odd. How, what has happened? I'm not saying Andrew is innocent, but why aren't they going after the others as well? And so, yeah, it's just very, very interesting. Jessica says, I really love seeing and reading that letter from Harry to the Scotty little soldiers. Oh gosh, yes, yes, yes. It is just one of the most touching things. And it's so funny. It's like almost you could feel it is his heart connecting with their heart, and then it connects with your heart too. And it's like, oh, I don't want to cry, but this is, and I think that's why people are all talking about it today, and it's all over the press, because it's hard not to be connected to it. And so, it just, yeah. Joyce, I think you're it today. You keep jumping and dropping on yours. Says Harry is the only one doing something different for Remembrance Day. The Unroyals do the same thing every year. And yeah, very true. It is all just a ritual. They're not connected with any of it. It's just a ritual. Because again, if you're connected with that, you don't shun members of your family who have actually served in war. I mean, you don't do that, And again, talk about Andrew. He actually did. He should have been. He actually served, and Harry. You don't do stuff like that. So yeah, it's weird. It's just this pageant thing that they do every year, and it doesn't really mean anything. Let's see. Scrolling up. Lydia says the letter is so heartfelt. It is. It absolutely is. Let's see. Wendy says Prince Harry is always thinking of his veterans, regardless of if he is in the UK or elsewhere. Good for him. Yeah, and I saw today on Twitter where someone says, and I thought it was so correct. They're like, Harry will not allow the royal family to define his relationship with the veterans. And I thought that was so apropos, because it's like they are trying to, let's shun him in so many ways to take away his relationship with his military brothers and sisters. And I love what Harry did when they refused to allow him to, to wear the military dress when Queen Betty passed away. And he put out the statement that, pretty much says, a uniform is not what, it doesn't signify his relationship with the vest or his time serving in the military. And I love that. It's like they are trying every which way to define it. And it's like, no. I decide what my relationship is with the military, not just in the UK, abroad. And I love that. I absolutely love that. I mean, it is just so sickening that we would even try that. Absolutely sickening. Jessica says, I am proud of Harry visiting Pearl Harbor. My great-grandfather's body is entombed there. Whoa. I'm so sorry, Jessica. Wow. I'm telling you, we have people here from all walks of life. I'm always surprised at the things that I learn from you guys. Wow. So thank your grandfather for his service. Wow. Oh, your great-grandfather, that is. Yeah, and I'm really happy that Harry was able to go there and pay respects there as well. because we weren't sure what they were going to do. We know they posted that thing on their news page on Archwell, but we weren't sure. We weren't sure. And we figured that somewhere along the line we may get pictures, but I wasn't very hopeful. I certainly wasn't expecting Hawaii. I was not expecting that, and obviously there are no leaks, and so the Sussexes always surprise us. So there you go. Let's see. Annie says, Harry always finds a way to visit his military family. There are no leaks in Montecito. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus, that people know they are professional. They're working with professionals, and that is the beauty of, being away from the royal family. They are working with professional people. Thank God. Marjorie says, the crown needs more juice. There are written journals on the events that could be used to give it real spice. Need to reach out to Netflix. Not sure. Oh, Crown. Okay. You're going to reach out to Netflix, letting them know they need more juice. They just need to tell the truth. I mean, they need to just, again, it's not a documentary, and again, it's there for entertainment. But I think with what I've seen so far, the things that they're not talking about is the more interesting things. They picked, it seems, probably why I kept falling asleep, is they picked the most boring things to talk about. I mean, I was watching, where, for example, like Princess Margaret. Okay, it was a little bit interesting for a minute, but did I need to see a whole thing with Princess? Maybe there are people who knew Princess when she was alive. I knew nothing about this woman. I'd never seen a picture of her before. It's like I knew nothing, and it just wasn't interesting to me, at all. But what I learned about Princess Margaret outside of the crown is that she was really racist, and so those are things that, and again, these are things that they're not talking about. So that's why I say the things they're not talking about is the more interesting things. And that's probably why I kept falling asleep, because I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting that, with her, the man she loved and all, and it's interesting, but not enough to keep me, not enough to keep me awake. So, let's see. Wendy, you're it too. I hope Harry's book, Despair, will not let us down like The Crown. Don't expect Harry's book to be a tell-all. It's just not going to be. I'm sure there are going to be things in there, but it's his family, and I wouldn't be shocked if if we're going by what Scobie says, it's definitely, but then when you look at what Harry said in the beginning last year when they, talked about the book, or was it early this year, whenever they talked about it for the first time, he has kept what he said. It's going to be about his life, about, the things that he learned, the things that he, as a man now, looking back, at his life, not as a prince, but as the man he is now, and that is going to be an uplifting story. So it's not a takedown in any way of the royals. And according to Scobie, it just isn't. Are there going to be things in there that would be like, oh my gosh, would there be surprises? I'm sure maybe one or two. Like, we don't know the ins and outs specifically of his relationship with William and all the details of stuff. Maybe he will talk about those and, enlighten us with some of those things, because that the press has sort of mangled and, basically turned upside down and all that stuff, hopefully. But I don't think it'll be any kind of a takedown or anything like that. I don't think there's going to be any explosive, we're going to destroy the royal family nonsense that the British press is. No, I just don't think that at all. Harry is just not that kind of person. Now, I am very petty, and I would want that. I would want them to blow them out and come, just bring this thing down and abolish it already. But I don't see it. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe a lot of it's going to be about his relationship with his father, and who knows. Nellie Dean says, oh, hello everyone, have a great week. Pedal, I love your music. Oh, well, it's not exactly my music, but Patrick Patricios would be very happy to know that you love his music, but I like playing it. So thank you, Nellie. I appreciate. Which one do you mean? Do you mean the one with Spotify or the one with Charles and the Egg? Charles and the Egg. But they're both amazing, and they will be in the show notes. So let's see. Church Nelly is like, I'm ready to read it. I think we all are. I can't wait for that book to come out. I simply cannot wait. I'm very, very excited. Jessica is like, I won't be watching season 6. It was a bait and switch, to be honest. Yeah, it's definitely. Again, I think, and I don't have any proof of this, but I believe, these people are all royalists. They baited us with, oh, it's gonna be about, Princess Diana and about Charles and that famous telephone call with Camilla and all of that stuff and what they did to Princess Diana. And then there are two sides. It's so funny. Before it dropped, I said exactly the same reason why I wasn't going to watch it. I broke down and decided to watch it. And at least so far, it's just, there are two sides to everything. And they will not make the royal family look bad. It's just what it is. The moment I realized, again, that Robert Lacey was going to be there, I'm like, we know Robert Lacey too well to know that he's not going to make the royal family. They're not ever going to call out the racism. None of that is going to be there. So let's see. I'm going to scroll down and see a few more before we end. And he's like, Charles is so petty. Yes, he is. He has always been petty. He is just petty. Now, I'm petty as well, but he's next level petty. That's like some serious petty. Yep. Well, hello, Ghislaine. I'm so happy you're here. Hello. Church Nelly says, Church Nelly, I think you're in as well. She's talking to Lydia. He doesn't care about Harry. He never did. Nope, he didn't. Joyce says, we will see if Edward will get the title. Hope he does. If it was promised to him. Maybe at the coronation, maybe. But again, Charles doesn't really have a good relationship with his brothers at all. I think he has a better relationship with Anne. Andrew and Edward, no, he does not at all. So a lot of that is just like, again, this is what happens when you have nothing outside the royal family, when you don't have a career, you don't have skills outside being a royal. This is what happens. It's the same thing that happened to Margaret with, being the spare to Queen Betty. She didn't, and again, with the times and as a woman, but she didn't have any. All they have is the royal family, and then the royal family treat you the way they do. You have nothing to fall back on. You have to stay there and take it. I would say for Edward, who is into the arts, go pursue the arts. Go pursue, get your creds back. I mean, he did have a production company a long time ago, which Charles helped to dismantle, by the way, and, and run to the ground. Edward should go try to, I don't understand, go try to find something to do other than being a royal. That's why they hate Harry so much. Harry's like, nah, I'm out of here. I'm out. Let's see. Jackie says, they've also been a bloodthirsty bunch. Just look at their history. If they can drop off, YouTube would kill me if I went on and read that one. So let's just, they are, yes, a bloodthirsty ones. They are definitely, I think it's a whole culture, really. That whole culture is that. So let's see. Coco Ambrose says the ranger job was rumored to go to Prince Edward together with the Dukedom of Edinburgh. Yeah, they were. And Prince Charles has taken it. So there you go. Again, he doesn't have a good relationship with his brothers. So good luck, Prince Edward, and getting that title from Prince Charles. Good luck. Donna says, I don't get it. She says, Pedal, you don't get it. Power directs C3 to steer and control in the building and continuity of the generational wealth, and you do not use your money to do so. Everything is not what it appears to be. Well, I think, Donna, I understand about building generational wealth. I totally understand that. I understand about, one of the things about not using your own money to, to fund projects or fund whatever. You use other people's money to do it. I don't buy, I understand that is normal wisdom. Quote unquote wisdom or normal American way of doing things. But there comes a time where you have to call out greed. You have so much that you look at somebody like Mackenzie Bezos or Jeff Bezos' wife, ex-wife, how much she's using her wealth to give, how much of her wealth that she's using to fund all these different charities and all. I mean, goodness, this woman is giving away so much money. And so many other people, we see Harry and Meghan doing the same thing. You notice they don't, maybe they have, privately getting funds from other places and using their funds as well. But as we know, as we've seen or whatever, there's no way to donate to them, whatever. And so while I understand building generational wealth, there comes a time where you have so much, it's time to give it away. To give some away. And that is where the royal family have been forever, especially the fact that not only are they, building wealth in so many different areas, being, again, the largest landowner in the UK, they're also getting taxpayer, poor people's money. They are getting that every single year, and every year that's going up. So this isn't about building generational wealth. They already got generational wealth. They have wealth that could fund countries. It's time, and this should be expected, that they should be literally funding people. They need to be taking care of the people, their subjects who are starving right now and they can't feed their families. They can't pay their electric bills. There's so many things. Children are starving. This is beyond generational wealth stuff. This is, I am hoarding wealth at the expense of children. And on top of that, I am taking money from their families. I am taking money from the mouths of children to build my so-called generational wealth. That is sickening. That is utterly sickening. And so I just maybe I'm misunderstanding what you're saying here, Dana and I could be very, be like, I'm probably going off on a tangent when that's not what you mean. But it's like, that is gross. They have too much. They have too much. They have homes that are just sitting there. Nobody's using it. And now there's like, okay, maybe I should do this because nobody's living there. So maybe I should do this. And it's just like, maybe give it to people who are poor. Maybe give it as homes to people. You have palaces, nobody is living in there. Maybe donate it to the homeless. You have land that you're not using. Maybe people can actually give it. They have all this stolen wealth that they need to give back. Again, they cannot take it with them. So for me, it's just like, this is where this is what should be expected. And on top of that, Charles inherited all of this stuff, and he is not paying inheritance tax on all the stuff that he has inherited from Queen Betty. Everybody else in the UK will have to pay inheritance tax if they inherited something from, grandmother, whatever. Prince Charles inherited all of this money, all of this wealth from Queen Betty. And this man he will not be paying 1 cent of taxes on that stuff. How is that fair? Where we have nurses, can't afford You know, they are trying to get money and they can't afford to pay. And while they're taking care of UK, I mean, this is just flat out greedy. It is flat out greedy. And I will never understand why this is allowed. Never, ever, ever, ever understand why this is allowed. I can't. I just can't. Let's try some. Move on. Let's just get a little irritated at Prince Charles there, as I always am, I think. um, let's see. Joyce says the stuff that Harry and Meghan use are very global and understands how to communicate Harry and Meghan to the world. The Unroyals do the same thing every year. Yeah, very true. I mean, if you look at Harry and Meghan's staff, they are, my goodness, they are rock stars. They are amazing. I love Mandana Dayani, who is the president of Archwell. She is, also the co-founder of I Am a Voter. I'm sure they're all excited right now with the election that just happened, with the Democrats doing so well. They've held on to the Senate. We're still fingers crossed that they'll be holding on to the House as well. And kudos to Christopher Boozy, who, our same Christopher who's been fighting for, Meghan and other, especially Black women of color who's been targets on social media. He has been one of the people who has, been the most accurate calling this election. And he called the election in Brazil and stuff and he only does it as a hobby. And there are so many people on network television who do this as a career and a living, who've been so off, and he does this as a hobby. And he's one of the people who has been the most accurate as to calling this out, and of course, a lot of people in the media are desperately wanting the orange one back in office because they don't have to be journalists. They can just sit back and let him feed them, the nonsense that he feeds them all the time. So they're all excited and wanting the Republicans back in office so they can have that stuff for clicks and likes. Many of them are not, they will never suffer under that because, most people who do are Black and brown people. So unreal. But Christopher Boozy is doing amazing. Let's see. Jessica says, she's talking to Frederica. I was shocked when I saw Harry there. I was so moved. Yes, the USS Arizona was bombed and sank so quickly. The compartments self-sealed and no one could get out or in. Yikes. Oi. Oi. That's hard to read. Wow. Or, wow. Catherine says, hi, Paddle. I am glad I have not ordered Netflix yet. I will wait for Meghan and Harry's series. Harry's book will be out about his life. I cannot wait till 1/10/22. Harry, Netflix has said not a word about this series. So, according to Scotty, it's coming out a month before Harry's book. Netflix hasn't said a word about it. Meghan mentioned it in the Variety interview. So, who knows? Who knows? When it's coming out, if it's coming out, I have no idea. And again, the secrecy. Some days I wish they were like, okay, this is when it's coming out, but I am an impatient person, so. Anyways, a couple more before we end. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I so appreciate it. Let's see. Alma says, I think Harry isn't the type to be petty. I feel he's going to tell the truth, but not shade. Yeah, I feel the same. Yeah. He just says he called things as it is, and there's no reason to shade, just say. I rather somebody just come out and say things than, be shady or, sort of beat around the bush. And Harry doesn't seem to be a person that beats around the bush. So I'm really looking forward to that. Let's see. One more before we end. And Miss September 15 says, Petal, have you seen the movie about Pearl Harbor? It's really good, better than The Crown. I have not. I have not. Did I know about this movie? I don't know. So I guess I will watch this movie because, again, I really didn't know. I'd never seen pictures of Pearl Harbor. For some reason, I don't know why I haven't. Even when I did research, well, this was Vietnam, but I didn't. I didn't learn about Pearl Harbor at all. And again, I'd never seen pictures of I guess the museum there. I had nothing. So that's something I need to learn. So I'm again Harry and Meghan doing things that that I hadn't thought to do, and then it's like, oh wow, I need to go learn about this. So this is great. So yeah. Lydia says there's an age gap with the brothers, and he's jealous of the relationship she had with Andrew and Edward. Charles is petty. You know what? That is so true. I heard that because Jonathan Dimbleby's book talked about Charles not obviously. He talked about not his mom, his dad being abusive, Prince Philip being abusive, of his mom being cold towards him, but then she was, a quote unquote, Andrew is her favorite, and also really, I know Prince Philip really was favorite Edward. So that could be right, that could be the reason as well. Charles getting back at them for not getting the love that, he felt is due him, which he should have gotten as a child. Everybody, every child needs to be loved, and it's horrible that he grew up feeling and not feeling loved by his parents. So, and to see how it's affected his relationship with his siblings. Vivian says, Virginia Lee. Oh my gosh. I looked at it and I thought it says a Vivian Lee. And I was like, wait a minute, isn't there an actress called Vivian Lee? But it's Virginia Lee. Virginia says the woman that left The Crown because she didn't like the way they were featuring Diana was telling the truth. Oh, that's why she left? Oh, I heard that there was somebody working on it that left, but I didn't realize this is why. Huh. Very interesting. Yeah, they apparently two sidesing, which I thought they would do. Yeah. Interesting. Official Lauren Brown says, why are these people in that family apparently so petty? That's something I just don't understand. Many things in the royal family I don't understand. They are very, 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 very petty. And I joke about me being petty. They are on next level petty. Next level, because they use that pettiness against each other and against people. So their version of petty can be very dangerous. So yeah. Let's see. One more before we end. Don Robinson says, I do not want Sophie to be a duchess, not after the way she treats Meghan every time she is in her company. Wait, so what? Oh, she's a countess. I always thought of her as a duchess for some reason. And now that you say it, it's like she isn't the duchess. She's a countess, I think. Yeah. Huh. Okay. There you go. Well, but it's funny. They did, I wasn't sure. I saw a picture of her looking very angry, and I don't know if it was just the picture of her being sad, but then she looked angry when Meghan was sort of standing in the back of them. So again, I always try to hesitate to, with people's expression when it's a photo, and being a photographer, again, it's a 1 second of someone's expression you're capturing that looks like they're just angry forever, and that's not the case at all. So I tend to hesitate to judge people based on one photo. Better if it's a video, then you can see the whole thing. So yeah, it did concern me of that photo. But yeah, they definitely don't, appear to be, close in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, we remember Sophie, that video of Sophie at that with the Commonwealth service a couple of years ago when she was very rude. And yeah, so definitely that one. Yeah. Let's see. One more. I keep saying one more. Joyce says, final one. Joyce says, I never understood why the Queen did not give Edward a dukedom when he got married. Yo Shoppy, I'm not sure what that means. He has to wait until his father dies to get that title. I don't understand how they do the title thing. I think only one person can hold a title at a time. So if the person is alive, somebody else can have it. So I don't know why. I think what happened is when Prince Philip died, the title revert to the next, I guess, the heir, and then he has to give it or something like that to that effect. So I don't know that the Queen had the power to give the title to Edward. I don't know. I don't. So that would be for our British squatties. If you can, put it in the comments. We're going to end with this, but if you can put it in the comments and let us know if that's correct, and maybe you can help us to understand why the Queen wasn't able to just give it to Edward instead of waiting for very greedy petty Charles to do it, which it doesn't look like he's going to be doing any of it. So yeah, but anyway, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. Thank you to our awesome moderators, Lydia, Church Nelly, Karen M, Julia Rock, Cookies and Cream. Thank you guys all so much for just making our channel and keeping our channel wonderful and safe. Thank you to our 2 Cents crew members who support the channel on a monthly basis. I appreciate you so much. We're going to put our subscribe scrolly thing at the bottom. Thank you so much to, our Gold Star supporters who support us via whether it's super chat, super stickers, super thanks, PayPal, Cash App, merchandise, however way you support us. Thank you for everything. Again, you did not have to do any of it. Out of the kindness of your heart, you are supporting this channel, and I appreciate you so much. So thank you guys for hanging out. I will try again tonight to watch The Crown and hope I don't fall asleep. So anyways, I love you guys, and I will talk to you tomorrow. We're going to end this with a little bit of music. I'm glad you guys love Patrick Patricios' music. I think it's absolutely fantastic as well. And yeah, let's enjoy it as we go out. There we go. Have a great night, guys. I love you all. Chat to you tomorrow. Bye.